What's up, everybody? This is Breaking the Cage Astrology TV. It is for July 7th through the 13th. I hope everyone had a good and a healthy and a safe 4th of July or Independence Day. Excuse me. Now we're getting into July. This really is a good thing. It seems like every time I say that, it's like I'm coming out and I'm about to say something bad, but I'm really not. I mean, of course, every week, month, and whatnot has its ups and downs, its challenges in the way that the aspects are speaking to one another in astrology. And then when we tap into the energy itself, it may sound a little scarier than it is, but really isn't. It's just some true purity. Like true depth purity. Like the most pure of self and truths is where we're really going. And for some, though, really identifying with that, coming face to face with that, that's a lot of dark night of soul. But it's kind of like that movie Shawshank Redemption. You know, at the end of the movie, he had to travel through a river of shit to come out clean on the other side. That's what a lot of this has been, and that's what it's been for the since 2020. It's just been crawling through that river of shit. But what Spirit is really giving me is they're giving me a very beautiful pink lotus flower right now, literally coming up out of like the swampland. And that says a lot because the pink is the sensitivity. It's the sensitivity emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and the growth of breaking through, the underworld and bringing the underworld out of us, surfacing into the three-dimensional world for ourselves to finally develop, understand, be, and then show the rest of the world at the same time. But what you're really going to have to really get for the rest of this month and really work on it and get it down is ebb and flow. And what I mean, everybody knows what ebb and flow means, but I'm really being given like jellyfish and like turtles, sea turtles. They don't force anything. They allow the current to take them where they need to be. Period. So we in our normal life are always trying to control things, even when it's not in our control. We're trying to find a way to, make it through our day, make it through our routines, make it through our bills, our goals, our dreams, our ambitions, you know, visit with the ones we love, what we want. We're always redirecting ourselves in a daily fashion, the mundane, moment to moment. Sometimes we're more controlling than others. But just like I kept saying the last couple of weeks with that court gesture, you know, this is time to start coming into that spiritual energy, into that I've been doing my work and really get down with the ebb and flow of, even if it feels like a sticky situation, I trust. That's a hard one for a lot of people. Trust. trust that I am creating my own reality. And even though something might come up that might throw me for a loop, be like, shit, damn it, gotta get back out of that. Because we are creating so fast right now that we don't want to accidentally push our just rewards. All of the manifestation that we've been working on back. Like I said, it's kind of like I was saying, I think it was last week, that we're kind of like a battery. And when we're working with the energy and the manifestation and the higher consciousness, it's when you plug your batteries into a remote or anything, and you have them going the same direction, like A and A, or positive and positive, the flow is going. It's a good stream of energy. But when you take a positive and a negative and you force it together, it bounces back. This is what you don't want to be bringing up in that paranoia, anxiety. Oh, some shit hit the fan. Oh, something came in and knocked you back a little bit further. And then redirect everything you've been working for, because you're not in that ebb and flow. And what you're creating is that bounce back of the batteries when they're going the wrong direction, and actually sending everything you want back away from you and have to work even harder to bring it back again. We don't want 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. We want forward. And even when something happens and knocks us down and it feels like we're going backwards, let me just say, in the last month, I felt so much love. It's ridiculous. I mean, in a good way. And I'm so thankful. But at the same time, something hits and I'm like, you know, that's you're human. Something hits. Yesterday, I was getting ready to go out and take my mom just to the dollar store, get her out of the house for a little bit. And we're getting dressed, we're getting ready, we're walking down the steps. And I got a flat tire right after the 4th of July. I think it happened from the fireworks somehow. And I was like, and to turn around and go right on back in, because now what I was going to do is not what's going to happen. I'm going to have to change and get the tire, get it changed, take care of this. My day has just shifted. And of course, for that moment, it was deflating. I was like, ah. But then I was like, no, no. Everything is here to serve you if you'll let it. Because I turned around and got something that turned around and paid me back for everything I just spent on that car, on the tire and everything. Turned around and just came right back. You've got to stay in that. I don't have to know why. I don't have to always like it, but I trust in the universe. I trust in God. I trust in the creator. I trust in the manifestation, as long as I don't get in the way and block it. This is where we're at right now. Don't force it to go the wrong direction because of our emotional attachments. I was saying last week, we are definitely in the whole chart, the astrological chart itself, when you're looking at it from the universal perspective. Almost everything is taking place in the northern hemisphere, which is why I was saying it's kind of like we're going back into the void. And this is Cancer season. So this is, for all intents and purposes, this is the empath. This is the sensitive. This is the roots to everything, your inner emotional security, and why it is or it isn't working. What is going on in that? Plus, that's a very psychic area. It's a very feminine nurturing area. It's the home. But the home is not just this vessel or just this. Remember, our three-dimensional world is what we create. But we're so busy creating that we don't even stop to realize what we're creating. And this is where we're creating incorrectly and learning how to stop doing that. This is where I was saying that lotus flower comes in, which is also in astrology. Hi, Nappy. Is make one of the asteroids and dwarf planets and stuff that I get into a lot that most astrologers don't. Make would actually be the lotus flower, and it's sitting in between. It's sitting in Libra, the seventh house of our relationships, along with the relationship we have with ourselves. It has to do with balance and harmony, yin and yang within ourselves. Because whatever we have with relationships with ourselves is what we are going to see in the relationships outside of us with the other people. That's nothing more than a mirror. It always is a mirror. It's part of what we're showing ourselves in our manifestation, the reality we've created. So it's sitting in Libra, which is harmony, balance, justice. And I say it a million times. A lot of times we're too busy trying to create harmony in areas harmony is not meant to be. And that is a false healing truth, because we don't want the fight. We don't want the drama. We don't want the trouble. We're comfortable in our uncomfortability because that's what we know and we're used to. But in order for us to truly become what we are, we have to allow ourselves to feel that uncomfortability and cipher what it truly is that's going on inside of ourselves. This is the void. This is my favorite place. This is, for those of you who follow me or who know or have had sessions with me, you all know I deal with all of the death gods. I deal with all of the underworld. And this is where I swim. This is where we find if we are truly earning and growing and spiritually coming into, as a few of my gods, goddesses, and so forth, your patents of nobility. Nobility is not being an elite. Being noble has nothing to do with being, the elite or rich, high class, anything like that. The nobility is your soul. It is truly coming back to your divinity. And we're earning, not that we need to earn our divinity, but we're learning how to accept and love and be that divinity. But in order for us to do that, this is getting into that inner emotional security of that fourth house. It's where the most private is in all of us. That's the void. That's the northern hemisphere. This is also where the seeds are planted. Like when you plant seeds, and you plant them in the dirt, you plant it underground and you water it and you take care of it and you wait for the seeds to grow into the plant or whatever. The void is that area. It's the quiet growth of truly coming to know thyself on all of its beautiful and fucked up levels. The lotus flower is always seen as one of the highest spiritual symbolisms of spiritual growth. But you have to understand the way that this beautiful flower grows in a swamp. It grows in like the nastiest funky water, and then it comes up and is this beautiful thing. But before it gets to be that beautiful thing, it's traveling through the swamp. Shawshank Redemption. Traveling through a river of shit to come out clean on the other side. You're going through all of your lacking in divinity, of what you know about yourself, what you believe about yourself, what you are ready to accept. And we are working our way through the swampland, through the frothy funk, and we're trying to bloom into that lotus flower. But there's a lot of sensitivity going on here to owning the possession of how important a soul is and what we're doing with our time here, our moments to moments, all of that in this three-dimensional reality. It is the most private parts of ourself. It is our inner world, our inner warfare. I was saying this last week. It is subjective. It is instinctual. It is the most personal that we tend to keep to ourselves, that we don't show the outside world. It is what is invisible, often to ourselves and definitely to others. But it's the roots to our responses. It's the reasons why our inner emotional security plays out well or doesn't. That's part of being here in the void, truly getting right with it. But it's not just that it's that northern hemisphere. Because, I mean, there's a lot of good things going on, but I'm explaining it the best way I can, just from when I look at it and what I'm getting from my guides and everything. When we're looking at this kind of energy, we're looking at what we actually will, what we're aware of that we will to become reality, what we will to shift and change in our manifestation, being responsible for what we're willing to be so. But this has a lot to do with versus what we already believe we know. Where you were taught this way or taught that way, and you're stuck in that's the only way of thinking or seeing it to be. And what we use to actually activate or create or make the changes. And I do mean people, places, and things. Because, I mean, I don't mean it in the form of like, but I do. What we use, it's our comfort zones of our crutches. Well, we have a crutch on, we can't get over that hump. And how are we using the hump? Are we still using it ineffectively? Are we still using the certain people in our teams, groups, and memberships ineffectively? Because this all has to do with what we are willing and what we're not just responsible for willing, but being aware of what we're willing, what we will to be so in reality. This take that back to that turtle, the turtle, the sea turtles or jellyfish and ebb and flow. I don't have to force it or try. I will get where I need to get if I just trust and be me. Now, I'm not saying be responsible and don't do your adultly duties, but I'm saying how we go about our responses in this area is very important for the healing of this inner emotional security and truly getting to the roots of how we create that foundation. Like I said, this month is kind of like a big step backwards, backing up the truck, dumping the trash, because we're really truly moving into, are we ready for divinity or not? And only you know if you're willing and ready and able, or if you're being that battery that just keeps putting the positive and the negative together and forcing it to go boom, 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 and pushing things back away from you. It's like Bajar was saying one time, everything that is right for you, everything that is meant to help you is trying to get to you, and everything that is not good for you is trying to get away from you. But our belief systems and how we use those belief systems, what we believe we know, has everything to do with our give and take and our attraction, along with the vibrations that we are carrying. Now, let me go into a little bit deeper here, because Spirit is definitely giving me the jellyfish is the same thing. Like I said, this has to do with, trusting that ebb and flow. But jellyfish also speak to us about flat out trust and surrender, but it's speaking to us about entanglement. Where are we getting entangled in things that is keeping us from that ebb and flow? Where is the energy flow flowing or being entangled? It's they have their own form of electricity, which brings us back to our vibrations and really putting that in check, really evaluating it, taking inventory on it. But this is also, you've heard, we've so many people have heard of the phoenix. The phoenix that lights up and is reborn. And in my shamanism, I've never heard anybody else put it this way. It's just the way I happen to see it. Like I said, I love being here in this void, in this swimming in this. Let me be curious and understand. And why are we so afraid of the change, of the transformation? Before you're ever going to get to truly be that phoenix, I see like the water phoenix, the emotional underwater or underworld. I see that as the octopus. And I mean, have you seen octopuses? I mean, the things that they could get into and how they can twist their body and just more or less crawl through like a keyhole. I mean, these things are amazing and strange. They're speaking to you about regeneration. They're speaking to you about transformation, adaptability, capability, camouflage, multitasking, being flexible. And all of this energy is coming into the relationships that we have with ourselves in our most private of areas. And then we're slowly moving it into that seventh and eighth house is coming back into the top half of the chart. We're taking the inside out after, I don't want to say cleaning it. I don't even want to say like shining the soul, because that's not it. It's realizing not even how powerful you are or magnificent. it's just fucking amazing how everything is connected to it, the source. It's just your one little spark, but your one little spark is still the breath of life. So how are we ebbing and flowing? What are we doing with that? How are we engaging in our uncomfortability until there's nothing to be uncomfortable anymore? That's how raw the void really is. It's the idea of infinity beautiful. And then the consciousness goes, well, let's just play and see what we can do. We don't always play intelligently. We don't always play smart. Sometimes we do things that are harmful to ourselves and others, even on accident. That's the consciousness being curious. But it's unconditional love. Coming back to you are that. But there's a very fine, fine line between the infinity of awe and numb. We don't want to be numb. We want to continue to grow and be all, not even all that we can be, but be all. And all of our friends and family can be just as much all as we can. This is an amazing transformation. And then I'm putting it that way because it's not just that it's Cancer season. It's not just that it's the inner emotional security. It's not just that it's really getting close to home or the home in here or out here. Because it's the roots that create and develop everything. It's the foundation of our dreams, our ideas, our reality. But I've said before, Spirit often gives me Hebrew. And in astrology, there's a yod, or depending on how Hebrew is pronounced, some will call it a yud or a yod. And it's like a little hyphen in Hebrew. But it's, and I was saying this, I believe, last week, it's the most tiniest, but mightiest. It's the creator energy, and that's what you are in. So that's why it's so important to be with the ebb and flow right now in the right way, because this is full on creator energy. And as we come through this week, this whole month actually, but as we come through this week, right as we approach the end of the week, the 13th, 14th, and 15th, we're having movable yods, which are the finger of God in astrology. Now, being a person who has 3 yods in my chart, that doesn't always feel like a good thing. It's kind of like they say, if you're one of God's people, you're going to be put through the ringer. Because there's a lot of people or a lot of entities and energies out there that don't want you to realize that you are that divine energy, that you are capable of being more than all you can be, just being. And there's not a fucking thing they can do about it. But yods are like, this is the challenge, and I'm going to hit you hard, and this is the challenge, and I'm going to hit you hard until you learn it. Until you learn it, learn it, learn it. It's like a difficult moment that creates the epiphany of the creator energy. And you're coming into 3 full days, 13, 14, and 15, which will be Saturday, Sunday, and Monday next week. as this yod shifts just a little bit and is shifting, still having, technically yods, I think there's 3 different kinds of yods having different dimensions or degrees. But I'm looking at it and it's shifting just a little bit. But like I said, being somebody who has 3 yods in my chart, this is an important energy. So being at peace with thyself and in that creator believing, that trust is highly important right now for where we're moving. Not just as we move to the equinox, because we did just have the solstice, and the next 6 months. I mean, all of this is coming together. It's crumbling into one big thing. You have to understand the astrology charts and the energies. It's like one cycle on another cycle on another cycle on another cycle, but they're all communicating. This is such a powerful moment. And it does have a lot of good energy. It really does. There's a lot of good energy here, but there's always some challenging. And the challenging pieces are what's going to make you question stepping into that good energy. And I'm trying to tell you, even if you get that knocked down, like, I can't take any more of this. No, we have to get in that trust and know that you are the creator of your reality. So, for whatever funky reason, something is going to redirect you. You have the moon is going to move through Leo this week. Now, the first 2 days. You have Mercury here, you have Venus here, and you have Vista here. The keys. Vista is the keys. It's the home and the hearth. It's the keys to opening the doors. With Venus, speaking about your sensitivity, Mercury, the communication that we're having, and I believe we're getting ready to go into shadow in Mercury. Here in the 5th house of Leo, your creativity, your what makes you tick, what makes you want to continue to stay being here on this flipping planet right now, what makes you still want to live this life, what makes you want to take that next breath, what makes you want to explore. We get so caught up in the random and the mundane, we forget. I'm getting a moose now too. But we get so caught up in the swarm of everyday reality. Every day is an adventure. So what are you doing with your adventure? I mean, are you choosing to make it an adventure? That's why we miss our inner child. The inner child knew that dreamland and playtime is an adventure. Explore, curious, play. But we get caught up in, I gotta go to work and I gotta do this, and I gotta take care of that, and Billy needs that, and Joshua needs this, and and I've got to fix the tire, and Every day is an adventure. Remember that. The creativity that we put into what makes us tick. Why do we want to be here? This is where your singers find that they want to be a singer. This is where the artists find that they want to create. This is where your sports people, you know, go after being, a football player. This what makes you want to enjoy, and are you giving yourself the time, the approval to explore it, be adventurous, and breathe life into that creativity that is you? Then it's going to move into Virgo, where we have Juno. This is sacrifice and commitment, because it's speaking to your mundane tasks. It's speaking to your energy diet, not just food diet, energy diet, people, places, and things. What are we attracted to? What is our routines? And sacrificing commitment to making our dreams and getting back to truly the divinity of ourselves. Are we taking the time to go, no, 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 that's going to have to go on the back burner because this is what's important? Or are we going, no, I have to do that. I have to do that because this three-dimensional world tells me, this hive mind says that I have. No. I create my own reality. I can go with the flow and I can trust. But I have to mean it. I have to truly believe it. This is about shifting that reality, to making these changes. This could be such a beautiful time of blossoming and really setting a new foundation, but you have to stick with the sacrifice and commitment of not letting this three-dimensional world go. But you gotta, but you've gotta, but no. Then that moon is gonna move into Libra with Lilith, the South Node, Haumea, which is right getting ready to go into, which is the collective consciousness, getting ready to, it's on the cusp of Libra and Scorpio. And then Make is in between the South Node and Lilith. So this is such a, like I said, this is ultimately transformation at its best if you're doing it right. If you can harness it without letting the chaos control and redirect everything you don't want. And that's building all week to these yads, which, like I said, is a moment, the hand of God speaking down, going, I'm going to show you right here where it is. So don't trip up. You have a grand trine all week long with Pluto, which is in retrograde. Speaking with Uranus, Mars will be coming in and coming right up on top of Uranus during this week as they get closer. So Mars is going to be entering this energy in Taurus. I mean, Mars is already in Taurus, but it's going to be entering closer to Uranus, really standing in our push and shove, really standing in our possession of ourselves, or feeling like somebody else has possession over us. This is really speaking about your possessions in general, your car, your phone, clothing, movable property, the things that make you feel comfortable. I say all the time, I don't know, so many people will be like, if I don't have my phone, I feel like I'm lost. These, the movable properties or perfumes or clothing or glasses that help you be you. Then comes to the most important part. Well, we're talking about you and standing in your independence, individuality, uniqueness, freedom. This is, are you being naive here, taken advantage of here? Are you holding and harnessing the power of you, the possession of you? Or are you giving that away? Speaking as in the outer world, Pluto, which is still in Aquarius, groups, memberships, committees, goals, dreams, and ambitions, really close to getting back into Capricorn. We're at 1 degree. And taking steps back into everything that we've been for the last however long Pluto was in Capricorn. This right now is the last evaluation that Pluto is getting in Aquarius before it dips back into Capricorn, taking you back to, at least the last like 30 some years of crap. and going, when I come back into Aquarius, now I'm going to throw down and make some major changes. So he's evaluating. And this is positive, though. And it is speaking with Lilith, which is down in that 7th, right next to Make, the Lotus Flower. Are you in the swamp land? Are you starting to come? Here's the swamp. Here's the air. The tree, the flower comes up. Are you in the swampland? Are you in the frothy middle? Or are you blooming? Where are you on the growth of the lotus flower? Speaking to the South Node about where is it that we keep harnessing what doesn't work, breaking the patterns in ourself and our relationships. Every relationship you have is nothing more than an extension of your own relationship with yourself. And then you have Lilith here. Good, how long can you see yourself? Really wanting you to just harness and love yourself and make these changes for ourselves and stop putting harmony where it don't belong. Because it's false harmony. This is time for big girl and boy. Pull up your pants. Pull up your, big girl and boy panties and really get spiritual. Really get divine. Get in with your divinity. This is in out. This is bringing the inward out. We're flipping ourselves inside out. This is a very positive energy. It's a trine. It's giving you the comfortability to do it if you have the balls to truly get in here and really swim around in these waters. Otherwise, it'll just create another false truth. But you have a very challenging chain reaction all week. Chiron and Aries, the first house. Chiron's the wounded healer because he can't get healed. Why else would he be called the wounded healer? Great at healing everybody else, not so good at himself. Speaking with Jupiter, the higher understanding of self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, manifestation, understanding how it all works. And then speaking with the sun, this is pride. This is the sun illuminating the truths and that Cancer energy, inner emotional security. But I only feel safe when I do it this way. But have you really ever felt safe? Have you ever really fixed it? Have you ever really changed? You see where I'm going with that? Jupiter, anything Jupiter touches, he amplifies for good or bad. And this is a challenge. So this is not going to be comfortable. You've got to break away from the uncomfortable zone. The wounded healer is never going to actually heal himself if he's still holding on to the wounds. It's time to forget them. Put them to peace and set them behind you and let them go. But that does not mean we're putting them in another skeleton in the closet. This means we can't carry, I said this a couple weeks ago, we cannot carry our karma with us. This is truly bringing the divinity into the healing here. But we're still having trouble understanding how and what to do with that. And to get really real with that. But that's what this is. You have, with that, you have the sun, like I said, is in Cancer. But you have to understand, another way of me explaining it, the 12th house is one of the hardest areas to understand. The 12th house is our grief, our sorrow, our shame, our blame, our skeletons in the closet. It's where our skeletons in the closet have skeletons in the closet. It's the cold. It's the denial. It's court. It's all things that you could want to be private, never have anybody know about yourself. It's relationships that you keep secret, that you may not even want to admit to yourself. Grave, sorrow, shame, blame, skeletons in the closet, all of that. But it's where we get caught on that crutch and we can't make the healing happen. A lot like the wounded healer. The 12th house is all about letting the crutch down for the healing. You have to understand the sun, it's ruled by Leo. Next month, the sun goes home. Right now, it is in its 12th house. Illumination and pride, no matter who you are, is in its 12th house because the sun hasn't gone home yet. It is going, this is everything I have to fix. And it's smack dab in inner emotional security. Illuminating what cannot be lied about anymore. Showing its truths. Then you have Venus, Mercury, and Vesta, which are in the 7th house. No, yeah, 7th house, but it's Leo. And this is more or less trying to touch base with what the sun wants corrected when it comes in. It wants to come home and be happy. It wants to come home and kick up its feet and be able to be like, yes, I'm back in my castle and this is a good world. So I've got to fix all the funk that I got going on inside. Cleaning it out. Like I said, backing that truck up and dumping all the trash. Venus is your sensitivity. She is not about love. She is your sensitivity. She speaks to your senses, your touch, your feel, your taste, your smell. She also deals a lot like the moon with the physical body and also with the liquids within the body. And it has a lot to do with the communication we have because she's ruled by Taurus. So it's also about like I've said a million times, it's not just putting your hands in a hot oven and without an oven mitt and you burn yourself. Venus is going to tell you when somebody betrayed you. Venus is going to tell you when it broke your freaking heart. Venus is going to be the one that said that betrayed you, that did you wrong, this person lied to you and broke your heart. But Venus is also going to tell you how to communicate and charm. She's telling you why you love it, why you hate it, why it's good, and why it's bad. And this is all tapping into the 5th house of being able to create the divine person that you are. Ultimately, why are you here? Why do you still want to breathe? What do you want to do with your time? Are you doing any of it for you? That's what the consciousness wants. The consciousness wants us to enjoy our time here, not be a slave. So why do we allow ourselves to be pushed into things we don't want and then taken away from what we do want? It's not just dreams. It's like I said, it's the singing. I was saying last week, it's the inner child. It's when you just are goofing off and you're in the fun of the moment. That's what this is supposed to be. What parts make you feel that? And what do we have to do to make sure that happens? The smallest things are the mightiest. That Venus, Mercury, and Vista in Leo. Sorry, is in the 5th house, not 7th house. 5th house is not getting along with Pluto in that 11th house. Your dreams, your goals, your ambitions, your groups, your committees. Out there is going to try to show you where it still has its hand on you and is still controlling the way you work your reality, what you're a part of, where you're being taken advantage of versus truly harnessing and creating what we want. Pluto is death, decay, and destruction for renewal, rebirth, regeneration. It's going, hey, you're the most powerful thing here with the spark of electricity and lightning. You are the spark of energy. You are a creator. Can you remember that? Show the world that. Why are we still playing this game? When Pluto's in retrograde, Pluto's the only one that goes into overdrive. Pluto is always inward, kind of kicking our ass. So now he's like slapping the door in our face. Oh, now you want to play? Huh. Really going precise. And I didn't write down anything else because you have sextiles and trines and even some unpredictable energies. But they're all in that void energy, all speaking to one another in such wonderful, delightful ways. I could go on and on and on, but I'm not. The point is, you know when those harsh ones are hitting. I go, oh, okay. I can't allow this to be the way I'm thinking and what I'm attaching myself to. Then you can get back in the ebb and flow. In the inner child, the inner adventure. Because that's where we need to be. That's where we're trying to go. I love you guys. I'll see you next week.